Alright, class, gather round. It's time to start.
Oh no, I'm late on my first day! Oh no!
Ooh, being late on your first day, that sure sounds like a problem. I wonder what would happen if you were late on your first day to high school.
Gee, what if? Wow, ain't it fun to ponder about what would happen if characters were in high school when they probably shouldn't be, huh? What a fun and cool concept that might be.
Yeah, what a fun idea of some sort of alternate universe where characters go to high school.
Yeah, but Scott, I just have one question. Do you love me? Ooh. That's right, everybody. This week we're talking about Dota. Ooh, boy.
Ooh, and we're talking about the real Dota anime, because everyone knows the anime are set in high school.
The real one, where all of the characters are modern adaptations that are in a high school. It's gonna be wonderful. We're talking about Dota High School by fanfiction.net author Missing Middle, a prolific alternate universe Dota 2 author, which is a subgenre that exists. But, the Dota 2 anime just came out, so it's timely that we talk about this now. And it really has informed my opinion about this fanfiction a lot, but, we'll see.
Alright. So I guess without further ado, this is Dota High School by author Missing Middle. Chapter 1. First Day. Traxix parked, or rather threw her bike onto the bike rack next to the entrance of the school. Casually decked out in a navy blue hoodie and gray jeans, the teenager pushed open the front doors and headed for the office. Loose locks of pale hair fell over her eyes. There hadn't been time to comb it, and she had tied it in a loose ponytail. The morning had been a mad rush as she had to prepare breakfast for all 15 members of her foster family, as well as clean up the mess after that. The school bell rang, causing her heart to beat even faster. It had really not been a good idea to be late on her first day in a new school.
Here you go, sweetheart.
A plump, motherly-looking receptionist handed her a schedule and a map of the sprawling school compounds.
Have a nice first day here at Dota High.
Thank you, Miss...
Traxix strained to read the name on the receptionist's desk.
Arachne.
Feeling something brush against her leg, she glanced down and saw 3 toddlers running around her and Miss Arachne.
But my youngest one's along for work today,
the receptionist explained.
Do you need someone to show you around?
I'm fine, thanks.
The teenager declined politely and left the office, preferring to make her way to the classroom on her own. She was comfortable being a loner, as there were some good things that came out of that. For example, she didn't miss her old school, as she hadn't made any friends there. Half walking, half running, through the crowded halls, Traxix pushed her shoulders back, reminding herself not to slouch. Slim and willowy, she had stood a head taller than anyone else at home, and had been made to feel self-conscious over it ever since she was little. Soon she arrived at room 204, and after checking her schedule to make sure it was the right one, she knocked on the door tentatively. A rather diminutive man in thick glasses opened the door.
Good morning, sir,
she said barely audibly.
I'm Traxix, the new student.
Ah, you found your way here. Come on in.
The man had a high-pitched voice and looked genial enough. As she entered the classroom, she felt about 20 pairs of eyes fix on her.
Everyone, we'll be having a new student join us today,
the teacher announced.
Her name is Traxix,
he pronounced hesitantly.
Please welcome her and help her find her way around.
She thought she could hear a few faint snickers, presumably at her name, but mentally she shrugged it off. That kind of response was something she had gotten accustomed to. Her eyes quickly scanned the room, finding 3 empty seats, 1 in the middle and 2 in the back.
Grab a seat and take your time to settle down. By the way, I'm Professor Bosch, your physics teacher.
Traxix walked down the aisle and placed her backpack beside the seat in the middle row. She decided to avoid the back row, as one of the guys there looked a little odd. He had mohawk hair dyed in maroon, some kind of purple face paint matching the tight purple vest and ripped-up jeans he was wearing. Black heavy boots and 2 circular earrings in his left ear complemented the punk look.
But what kind of punk wears all purple?
She mused.
Okay, everyone.
Dr. Bausch resumed his lesson as Traxix settled into her seat and pulled out her stationery textbook.
Let's move on to the next physics problem. A meteor falls on Earth and strikes the ground at a speed of 11.2 kilometers per second. If the meteor has a diameter of about 3 meters and a mass of 2.3 times 10 to the power of 5 kilograms, then what is its kinetic energy at the instant it collides with the Earth's surface? Does anyone know the answer?
Sir, May I?
A young man with platinum blonde hair, seated in the first row, raised his hand.
Yes, Carl. Please go ahead.
The blonde named Carl stood up and proceeded to go to the board where he scribbled some calculations. He wore a long white coat with gold trimmings over black jeans, and his silky shoulder-length hair reflected sunlight, which Traxic found somewhat distracting.
Hi.
A bright, cheery voice called out to her. Traxic turned to her right to find a girl with wavy ginger hair and vivid green eyes that reminded her of the forest.
Can I call you Tracy instead?
She giggled.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm Lirale. You can call me Lyra for short, the girl said, stealing a peek at Traxic's schedule on her desk.
Oh, it looks like we share a lot of the same classes.
Traxic half smiled, taken aback that someone had taken the initiative to befriend her. Flipping the pages of her physics textbook, she peered around her. Except for those in the front row, most of the students were talking or blatantly doing their own thing, some reading or even taking naps. Professor Bausch did not seem to care.
That is correct. Thank you, Carl.
She looked up when she heard the teacher's voice. The bleach blonde was returning to his seat, and Traxic caught a glimpse of his face. He had delicate, almost feminine features, and eyes almost as pale as his hair.
Carl is our top student,
Lyral explained, as if sensing Traxic's curiosity.
Many of us don't even bother paying attention during class, because he lets us copy his homework after school.
She chuckled, her emerald eyes sparkling.
Mingda is the only one who doesn't want anything to do with him,
she added, nodding toward the purple punk seated at the back, his face now buried in a magazine, one leg propped up on the desk.
He totally hates Carl.
Magina? What kind of name is that?
Finally, there was someone whose name sounded worse than hers. Traxix then turned her attention to the two girls sitting on either side of Carl. The one on the left was dressed in a red turtleneck top with bright orange hair like Lirale's, and on his right was a blonde with a sapphire hoodie.
The three of them, Carl, Lena, and Ryla,
Lirale added.
They think they're smarter than everyone else.
Traxix shrugged, already mentally distancing herself from the group. Her results had always been average. She tried to concentrate on what Professor Bausch was saying, but the chatter around her made it difficult. It seemed like barely any time had passed when the bell sounded, signaling the end of class. Her classmates began spilling out of the room, but she took her time to pack up and observe the people around her. Lirale was now talking animatedly to two students as they made their way towards the next class. One was a tall, tanned, athletic-looking male, and the other, a chestnut-haired girl wearing a short, royal blue designer dress that revealed a little cleavage and looked like it cost fortunes. A sparkling, crescent-shaped jewel hung from a silver chain around her neck. For some reason, Traxix was glad that the girl didn't seem to have noticed her. The next class was math. The teacher wasn't there yet. Traxix recognized some faces from the previous class as everyone streamed into the room. Lirale plopped herself next to her again and started a conversation. Traxix wondered when she was ever going to stop talking. The ginger was starting to get on her nerves. But as a new student, there was nothing she could do but listen, or at least pretend to be interested. Her mind began to drift off when the two words archery club caught her attention.
Sorry, Lyra, what did you say again?
I said, I'm in the archery club.
Traxix's eyes lit up for the first time that day.
I was in the archery club in my previous school. Can I join you?
Sure. We have practice every Friday at our indoor range.
How do I join?
You can sign up at our club room after school today. Marana will be there too.
Lirale nodded towards the posh girl seated to her right. At the mention of the name, Marana turned her head towards Traxix's direction, locking her brilliant blue eyes on her. Her high cheekbones made her look elegant, yet intimidating at the same time.
Another movie heroine wannabe who thinks she'd look cool posing with a bow and arrow?
Marana smirked, contempt curling her lips. Traxix could feel her cheeks growing warm.
I think I can shoot decently,
she said defensively.
Okay then, let's see how good you are before we accept you as a member. Sure.
Traxix shrugged. A stern voice cut in from the front of the classroom.
Shut up, all of you.
A bespectacled man strode into the room and slammed a file on the teacher's table. He was clad in black pants and a dark purple jacket with yellow stripes, and looked to be in his early 30s, with strong jaw and no-nonsense expression.
Another fan of purple,
Traxix thought.
What a kaleidoscope this place is.
But amusement turned to awe as a subdued hush fell over the entire room and everyone literally scrambled back into their seats. Even the punk was paying attention with both his feet on the floor.
Whoa, that is one hell of a teacher. Traxix.
She gave a start when the teacher addressed her, his blue eyes piercing through her.
The new student, eh? You were late and missed homeroom. Sorry.
Traxix bolted up nervously. dismayed that her lips were unable to form a coherent sentence.
Since you're new, I'll let you off with a warning this time. Sit down. Thank you, sir. You may call me Mr. Nortram. I am your math and homeroom teacher. And as your friends will tell you, I have a very low tolerance for noise during my lesson. You are to remain silent throughout the lesson, and speak only when spoken to. If I so much as catch a whisper.
Traxix waited for him to complete his threat, but he turned around and began writing the lesson topic on the board, leaving her wondering how he managed to get all the students under his control. Whatever the case, she decided that this was one teacher she didn't want to get on the wrong side of. She only wished that math wasn't her weakest subject. Mr. Nortram launched into a trigonometry lesson, and once again, Carl offered most of the answers to his questions, with the remaining answered by the two girls flanking him. An hour flew past, and the bell rang. Upon dismissal, the students fled the classroom like prisoners being released from captivity. God, I hate Mr. Nortram, Lyriel grumbled as they walked toward their lockers. His lessons are just torture. I hate it when I can't talk in class.
I like him, though.
Traxix almost said it out loud, but stopped herself for fear of ruining her new friendship. Lyriel seemed to be the only person she could get along with, at least for now. She didn't even want to think about approaching the others. Alright, so that's the end of chapter 1.
That's chapter 1, and I'm gonna say, of my own free will, I read the next 3 chapters.
I actually read the next 2.
This was a lot of fun for me. I gotta say.
See, I had the opposite experience.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, having just watched and thought about the Dota anime a lot, all of my favorite parts of the Dota 2 anime are when things in the show happened like how they happen in the game. Like Terrorblade Cast's Metamorphosis. That's sick. To be clear, Scott and I have both put thousands of hours into Dota 2, so this is something we have a lot of time with and a lot of familiarity with. So just like, I love all of the points in this fanfiction where, like, the heroes in their lore is just, like, touched upon and brought up again. Like, Broodmother has the kids in the office because she has a fucking brood, you know? Later on in chapter 3, there's a moment where they say that Ricky is never seen in class because he's permanently invis, and he's always smoking because he has smokescreen. Like, it's just so funny to me.
Alright, see, I kind of saw those moments, I'm like, cool, but then most of the story to me was just kind of boring. I felt like this is the most, like, I don't know, 2000s Nickelodeon live-action show, like, the crap parts of Kim Possible stuff, the kids hanging out at school, it isn't interesting.
Okay. So, but hear me out here. I watched a lot of those shows.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, but I mean, yeah, the school stuff, it's just school, and it's uninspired, and you've heard it 1,000 times, and that's not great, but that's not what's cool. What's cool is the Dota references. Like, Drow later on gets together with Silencer, because they both have silences. That's fucking sick. Anti-Mage hates the mage, it all fits. I don't know. That's enough for me, I guess, to enjoy it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And it kind of makes me scared, you know, because the implication is that if I put enough time into something, I'll enjoy fanfiction about it. That's kind of scary to me.
Just don't enjoy things. That's the strategy.
Genius. If you don't enjoy things, then you won't enjoy things that derivate from them. If that's right. I
think part of my problem with this is that it feels like the characters aren't really the characters. Like, there's the jokes about Broodmother's got children and stuff, but it really feels like all these characters you could change their names out to someone else and not be about Dota, and it would still work. There's the same story.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't know that this were Dota heroes, you wouldn't be like, oh, I recognize the personalities here. And
right.
The Dota 2 heroes actually do have decent personality through voice lines, and can be funny or sarcastic or straightforward or whatever. And it feels like maybe Silencer got that across with his overly seriousness. But to me, the rest of them kind of were whatever.
Yeah, they definitely lost some personality, and just like there's so few voice lines in Dota that they feel really precise. Where these lines just like aren't as carefully crafted. Like, Windranger is kind of like bubbly in this, but not really. Like, and as much as the lines are in Dota, Drow's like kind of edgy in this, but not really, because it's like she's a self-insert or something.
Yeah, she's kind of a bit of a
Yeah.
Mary Sue. She's very much that high school mid 2010s character of I'm the new girl at school
Right.
and I'm gonna make friends, but I don't want to make friends, but I do.
Oh my... Remember that line though of it's not all bad being alone. For example, she didn't miss any friends at her old school. I was laughing out loud because that's so fucking bad. It's such a classic new girl at school story. It's just about Dota. It's weird because this author does a lot of that kind of like modern reimagining of, or like high school setting of fantasy situations like this. So it's like I don't personally understand what would inspire someone to write a story like that, because like there are
a lot of anime. You watch a lot of anime, you're like, ooh, everything's gonna be set in high school.
Yeah, I guess it's just like it's set in high school, but here's the different part. And in this thing, the different part is that they're Dota heroes, and I like that gimmick. But it's not a lot. Remember when they all played Dota in Chapter 2? That was pretty crazy.
Remember when Sven just has like a silver hat?
Oh my god.
That's Sven.
The descriptions too, like Anti-Mage just shows up to school in full purple face. What's going on? Like some of the modern outfit reinterpretations are also kind of fun to me, but like not that fun. I'm here for the lore references.
Yeah, I guess I kind of wish that this was a bit less real modern school and a bit more Dota-y. A bit something going on that wasn't high school, first day at school story.
So here's the thing though, Scott, is I look forwards at the titles of later chapter names, and they're like, The War Goes On, The Immortal Prisoner, like, The Fall of the Ancients. Like, I think it happens eventually. But maybe, we're not at eventually.
That's good, but I don't want to read
yeah.
as many chapters as I did and have it not get there yet.
We're not at eventually yet, for sure. Yeah, like, the more of the Dota type stuff would be great. Just like personally, reading this I was at the perfect point of I had just watched the Dota anime and really wanted more shameless like Dota references in other media because I wished that there was more in the show, and this did that for me. I'm sure I would appreciate it less.
Yeah, that is true. This does definitely better than the show just have Dota things.
Yeah.
Because the show really is just like, all right, who are the most basic human-y like characters? All right, put them in. They get the basic stories. Pudge? Never heard of him. Ricky? What's that?
There's elves and there's people, and that's what there is.
Yep.
Oh, dragons too, I guess. Fuck Coddle. All my homies hate Coddle.
Yeah, Coddle.
Chaos Knight, never heard of him. What a shame. Anyway, this is kind of just like... This is such a prototypical fanfiction, and it's the first time that I've enjoyed one like that. It's just like... It's kind of shameless. Put the characters in situations that are like what you do, and like, oh, what if I was Drow Ranger? And it worries me that I've never enjoyed that before, but this time I did. So I don't know what this show is doing to me, or if it's just a Dota thing with a Dota anime as well. But this could be a dark beginning for me as an avid fanfiction reader.
It's seeming like it is. You really, if you're into something and you read a fanfic of it, you're too dragged in.
That's kind of like I'm a little scared for when we do One Piece content as someone that's watched One Piece 2.5 times and read it twice.
Not safe.
Like that I'm getting close to the 3,400 hours that I have in Dota.
Yikes. That's a lot of One Piece.
I mean, it's probably not that many hours. I haven't done the math in a while. It's definitely not that many hours. What am I talking about?
Okay.
It's a lot of One Piece. It's a lot of One Piece. Man. My darkest secrets are coming out. Anyway, I don't know. As far as like writing style for this, I don't know if I have a lot.
It's very literal.
It's very literal.
This thing happened. I saw this thing. I heard this thing. I said this thing.
Yeah, it's nice that it is consistent. Like it's all good first person, and they do italics for when she's thinking. Like it's not hard to keep track of. But yeah, it's kind of just this. Yeah, this is what I see, and this is what happens. It's fine. Gets the job done.
That's kind of it. That kind of describes this. It gets the job done.
Listen, it's shameless, and I love it.
All right, it's shameless, and I don't love it.
Good enough.
So I think if I were to have to recommend this, I would say no. You?
I would say that if you've played thousands of hours of Dota and watched the anime and wanted more, go ahead and read a few chapters. You'll have some fun, probably. Probably. I guess I'll also add the caveat of you watched early 2000s Nickelodeon shows. If you're a lot like me, you might also enjoy this, is what I'm saying.
That makes sense. If you're a lot like me, you probably won't enjoy this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the story of fanfic.
That's kind of how it goes. But the great thing is that if you don't like it, you don't have to read it, huh? That's what we're here for. To bring you the fanfiction so you don't have to.
You just have to listen to it.
That's true. And you'll have to listen to us again next week when we talk about a very famous fanfiction.
Ooh, what could that be? Is it something that I wrote?
No, it isn't, actually.
Oh, that makes sense, because I didn't write anything.
And nothing as important and culture-defining as this one, that's for sure.
Ooh.
By famous author Les Wrong. You've guessed it. It's Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality.
Ooh, that's gonna be bad.
It will be bad. So we'll have a link to that in the description of this. So if you want to read the first chapter ahead of time, feel free.
No, my job just got harder.
and we'll be reading it out loud during the next show and talking about it.
All right, hope to see you all there.
Keeping my knees in the breeze.